I'm Justin Hanson. I work in Senator Heitkamp's Fargo office here. I do outreach with the ag community. And it's always tough following Tom because he's been doing this for so long and it takes all of my material. So I could just say ditto and drop the mic. But basically, you know, what Senator Heitkamp said in the video, we saw her top priority this Congress is getting the new farm bill through. Right now, she was able to get the ranking member spot on the Ag Subcommittee on commodities. So she'll have a lot of input and say in any changes take place in the next farm bill. Like Tom mentioned, the last farm bill took quite a bit of cajoling and getting through Congress. We'd like to avoid any delays, and that's why we're starting this process early. And meetings like this one are really important to get that input. Back in August, Senator Heitkamp had a farm bill tour across the state, got a lot of input, and the corn growers were good enough to have a 4-town tour where Tyler from our office came out and discussed issues and got a lot of feedback from the corn growers. So that's very, very important to lay the groundwork for this farm bill. Right now, like Tom said, you know, the last farm bill was somewhat contentious. This one's not quite as big of a lift. We're looking at more tweaks or fixes to the problems that we've been seeing and been hearing from our farmers and ranchers. And with that, of course, the most important element is a strong safety net. And like Senator Heitkamp said, this includes Title I, crop insurance, and also the sugar program to make sure we protect the sugar program specifically. Those are critical programs to protect our farmers and families and to pass on family farms from generation to generation. The number one issue that we see in our office is crop insurance. It's by far the thing that we feel that we must maintain the current level of support. I was following for preparing for this. I was listening to the farm hearings down in Kansas, and it was interesting. One of the presenters there, one of the farmers, he said that crop insurance is not going to make your year, but it will at least get you through to the next one. So that statement alone just shows the importance of crop insurance and how important the safety net is to our farmers. And we do hear that a lot when we get information into the office. Tom mentioned it as well, the issue with NASS data versus RMA data. That's the most high profile issue that we see with regard to our county, and is obviously with regard to the yield that we think we can get done in the next farm bill. Senator Heitkamp is fairly optimistic on that, and it appears there's some sort of consensus building in DC. So that should be something that we could probably see get done in the next farm bill. Other issues that come up from time to time, it looks like we could increase reference prices to help lift the minimum payment as the Olympic average comes down. That's something that we've been seeing more discussions on. To see how that can be done, we'll have to have a lot more discussions and input, but that's something that we think could possibly take place. As Tom mentioned, there's going to be a tax. There have been attacks. Senator Heitkamp mentioned the Heritage Foundation with regard to the safety net, but that's a bipartisan issue. There's a tax on both sides, and we're going to push back on that as much as possible. Like we saw in 2015, when crop insurance cuts were snuck into the farm bill, that's something we need to keep our attention on and something that we need to make sure we push back on. So we're looking at tight budgets, and she's going to take a hard line with regard to the safety net. She mentioned her priorities in the video. So other than the safety net, of course, which is the top priority, her other priorities in the farm bill are a strong research funding and export promotion. She kind of went over that quite well. But with regard to research, it's critical, especially for those crops that don't have multi-million-dollar investments, like from Monsanto and Syngenta, particularly the small grains and small grains that need some extra research dollars to get the variety issues and pest protection in the future. One way to do this, as the senator said, was, and a lot of people in the room would be interested and like to hear this, is that the university funding for North Dakota State University and the ARS centers as well will be something that's a high priority to make sure we have adequate funding. So with regard to the research, the next important program that is a priority she mentioned is export promotion. The two export promotion programs in the Farm Bill are the Market Access Program and the Farm Market Development Program. So these are something that we're looking for fully funding. And as the Senator said, trade is one of the top priorities as well, coming on into the next, even though it's not a Farm Bill issue, it's something that she's looking on promoting quite a bit. With regard to farm promotion, I did take a look at some statistics before I came into here, and according to a 2016 study from Texas A&M, the USDA, and Oregon State, the impact is quite significant on how much these two promotion programs provide to our farmers. For example, the average annual increase in farm income is $2.1 billion just from these two programs. And for every dollar that we spend on these two programs, we get back another $24 in return. So they're quite important. Like Senator Heitkamp mentioned, trade is going to be a big issue, even though it's not a Farm Bill related issue. It's something we're going to continue to work on, especially in these times of low commodity prices. If we can increase our trade, that's something that we can definitely build on. There will be some challenges as well. Like we said, there's a tax from both sides on the Farm Bill with regard to the premium subsidy and our county payments. So what we're looking at, challenges. Okay, so aside from the political climate in Washington, one of the biggest challenges will be the budget. Senator Heitkamp mentioned the budget and President Trump's budget, and she was quite concerned about what's been going on and some of the interests that are put forth in the budget there. But with regard to the budget with the Farm Bill, we do see that if we do make some tweaks, that there are competing interests. So, for example, there's the cotton program and the dairy program haven't done quite so well under the last Farm Bill. So if we do make a change in one title, that could affect some budgeting issues with another title. So we have to look at that quite carefully when we're dealing with these tweaks. And finally, with regard to another issue, was with regard to Sonny Perdue. He's going to be confirmed, or probably confirmed on April 24th. And Senator Heitkamp came out early in support of Secretary Perdue or nominee Perdue. They have a pretty good working relationship, but one of the problems is, since he hasn't been nominated at this point in time, is the fact that we don't have any undersecretaries or they don't have any deputies, even coming up for nomination. We just don't have the names, and that's been a huge problem. And you can see that in the budget as well, because the ag community hasn't had a seat at the table. So we're hoping that we can get the nomination through. The ag committee still has to confirm, I think, 14 members to the undersecretary positions and the deputies, and that takes quite a bit of time. So that is going to affect the farm policy in the near future. With those appointments, we're hoping that we can get some hearings this summer, and we're also hoping that once we get those hearings done, we can start running the Farm Bill sometime in the winter, so that we can get to September of 2018 and make sure that we do have a strong Farm Bill for our egg producers.